Where's he gone? There he is. Perfect start to a pre-tournament routine. Nice little Baltic walk in the park for breakfast and a nice drive up to Coventry. Hopefully get a result in this 550 later. Take it down and make a great start to the year. So, alright, finish walking the dog. Come here then, mate. Come on. No, not interested. Right, finish walking him, have some breakfast, get on the road. Touchdown in, say sunny, windy Coventry. All geared up. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we leave here tomorrow a lot richer and we're still here in 12 hours time and not playing cash. So. No, it's fine. We're back in the car just to stay warm out the cold and eat some snacks because I can't take a bag into a British casino because why would you let someone take a bag in? You know, fucking anything could happen. Oh dear. Right. Anyway, fortunately I didn't have to film much or try and sneak a camera because we're on the live stream for the first session. We'll jump and go through some hands in 2 seconds. We'll let future Gus deal with that. But yeah, bit up and down, and then as you'll find out, we had a little rocket ship just at the end of the level. So come back to 55k, so nearly 2 times starting. Hopefully sitting pretty pretty. Sitting pretty, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. Right, I'm going to eat some chicken, have a drink, and head back in. So here we go. Pick up queens in the cutoff. Sorry, yeah, on the cutoff. James in the hijack has opened to 300. We free bet to 800, and James decides to call with the queen jack off, which is what it is. Typical. There you go. How often when you have queens does that ace or king come along? So there we go. Not the best flop for queens, reasonable flop for my range. I don't see any reason to bet here, so I'm going to guess that we check it back, and there we go. We check that one back. And then the turn obviously drills the double gutter for James, which is pretty nice for him. He decides to have a little stab at it. What's he bet? He bets 800 into 1.9, so just shy of half pot. This feels pretty straightforward. We certainly can't be folding here with queens, and there we go, we make the call. And we go to a river. I wonder what could happen here. Oh, and there we go. 4 to the straight, and obviously James has got the absolute top of that. So I'm hoping it's going to go bet and we're going to be sensible and fold, but let's find out and see what I can do. There we go, counting out chips. I think we can see what's going to happen here. So my brilliant start to the day is likely to continue. Thankfully we don't dust off anymore. So slightly down on starting stack, as we can see, bottom of the pile, which hopefully we don't stay there for the rest of the day. Okay, still at 100, we pick up pocket jacks under the gun +1. Fairly straightforward raise here, make it 300 to go. New guy at the table, Martin, to our left, picks up ace king off. Again, all pretty self-explanatory. He will free bet this. He pops up to 900. We're in a lucky position that this will fold round to us now. And I think it's a pretty straightforward decision here. There's not much point in 4-betting jacks. Not strong enough. Martin should have a very strong range. Free betting us this early, so I assume we will make the call and move to a flop. And there we go. We chuck in the call. Now we try and fill some time while the live stream takes a moment to show the flop. I can reveal the secret that it is ace 9, and we hit the middle set of jacks. Perfect for us. Rainbow, which is also nice. We'll have no leads here, so we check it across to Martin, who makes a very small bet. Not the biggest fan of this, because I don't think he's betting a lot here. You know, any sort of kings, queens, tens that he's free betting won't bet here, so I think he should go for a larger bet of aces, which really means I should be free betting here, because he's only betting his pair of aces, so I think calling was a bit of a mistake. Go to a turn, see the 7 of diamonds, which brings the backdoor flush draw. Obviously, because we called, we know how to check, which allows Martin to check through. And the flush draw completes on the river. Straight draw completes, not really worried about that. There's just not much 8x out there, really. So, I think with a set of jacks, we should be going for value here. I decide to go for like a pot size bet of 3k, which I think is a bit greedy. If Martin wanted to get really fruity, he could really put us in the blender here. Which he decides to do, but probably just doesn't raise enough here, so he raises just shy of 3x, so pops it up to 8.6k. If he jammed, we'd be like in a world of trouble here, or if it just goes a bit bigger. Thankfully we have the jack of diamonds, which makes this pretty easy, because if Martin's sort of like free betting pre-flop with like jack x of diamonds type hands that he bets on the flop, we block all of those, so we block a lot of his blackdoor flush draws on the flop, so call it the jack of diamonds. We're happy to see the bluff, and we take down a nice 20k pot, which gets us to over starting stack for the first time today. And 2 hands later we pick up the beautiful 4-3 of diamonds in the big blind, folds around to the button, who raises to 300, small blind calls with the 5 deuce suited, and we come along as well. Perfect flop for us, bottom pair and the flush draw, checks through to the button, who has top 2 and decides to make a pretty sizable bet, bets 800 into 1k, presumably scared of exactly the sort of hand we've got, lots of straight draws, lots of flush draws out there. So we take advantage of that and pop it up to 2.8k. I think it's a pretty good candidate to turn into a bluff here. Obviously lots of good turn cards for us that we can either keep barreling or just hit the flush. One of those cards being the 8 of hearts, bringing the backdoor flush draw, completing a lot of straight draws, so it's a pretty good card for us to keep barreling. So we decide to bet 3.5k into 5. No idea if that's a good sizing or not. Tournaments are difficult. I'm not very good, but that's what we did. Obviously, again, with top 2, Bixie's going nowhere. No sense in raising here. Only going to get called by better. So she makes the call. And we go to a river, which brings the very unfortunate 9 of spades, so it does not complete any flushes. Fills up Bixie. Not a good card for us to barrel, so hopefully, tail between our legs, we will run away, give up and check here, which we do. Well done, me. Cross to Bixie, obviously with top full house here. Well, not quite top full house, but good enough. So she bets 7.5k into 12, and we quickly get away. I do think that there is an opportunity to bet more there. Like, we're only ever calling with straights and worse full houses, so I think she just go massive and hopefully get called. A couple hands later, it's 100, 200 now. We pick up King 9 off in the cutoff. Raise to 500. Sean, who apparently has the same face as I do, makes the call with the 7-5 of clubs. I'm pretty sure this was his first hand at the table, maybe, like certainly first few. The blinds fold and we go to a flop. The flop brings
ace 9 free rainbow, 1 club for Sean. Obviously, we definitely have the range advantage here, but we're going to be checking all of our most of our nines, certainly like a 9 this strong, this high up in the range. So we'll check this across to Sean, who doesn't hit anything but's got a lot of backdoor draws, so can improve on a lot of turns. So seems a pretty reasonable candidate to bluff. So he bets 1/3 into 1.5k. Not much point talking about this too much. It's a pretty straightforward call. So we make the call and move to the turn. And what a turn it is. There we go. We drill the offsuit 9. Obviously, I don't think there's going to be any leads here for us. So we check it. Sean sort of gives up on the bluff and checks behind. And then we get a fairly innocuous 9 on the river, which now it's just a case of hoping that Sean has ace X called like with a suited ace on the button, and we can sort of try and go for max value here with pretty much all confidence that we have the best hand. So pot's 2.5k. I decide to bet 2.2, so sort of going like absolute max value, only looking to be called by an ace. Certainly didn't expect to be looked up by any 5s, but Sean does not look to be going anywhere here. He's obviously new to the table, sees this weird looking guy with a cap and a beard, and just does not trust him. He goes, well, if he can take my thumbnail image, maybe he can try and take this pot. So he's sticking around, he's having a real tough time of it. Surely can't make the hero call with the 5. Oh, there it is. What a dream result. We roll over the 9, showing the misery pretty quickly, and he mucks. So that's it. A nice little pot to us. We keep chipping away, and we're nearly back to our peak stack again. It looks like on the next orbit, we're now at 300 big blind. We pick up King Jack off in the hijack, so we open it up to 700. Small blind makes a tight fold with the suited ace of hearts. Folds to Florin, who's going nowhere in the big blind with the 8-7 off. Makes the call, and we go to the flop. Flop brings Queen High flop, which we really don't connect with. Florin checks it across to us with his middle pair. Obviously, this is pretty innocuous. We're not going to do anything silly here. We will be checking this back, because why would anyone bet? No, we don't. We decide to bet a quarter pot, which seems to make very, very little sense there to me, but we do it anyway, and obviously Florin calls with his middle pair. Queen pairs on the turn, bringing a black door flush draw, so we've got 2 flush draws out there now. Goes check, so we don't really sort of make it much worse than we did on the flop. Flush draws brick and the 6 pairs on the river. Florin with his pair of 8s clearly wants to try and get value from ace high, so he bets pretty small, bets 800 into 2.6k. Really, like I say, probably targeting like ace high calls that we sort of bet the flop and then gave up. So we can do one better though. We can make a king high call with the king of spades, which you just don't know what you're doing. Straight on to the next one here. Still 300 big blind. Martin picks up pocket jacks and raises to 700 from early position. We pick up pocket kings in the hijack, pretty standard. We pop it up to 1.8k, and Sean has the ace queen of clubs in the cutoff for a big decision, and he makes the fold, which, as we'll see, quite fortuitous. Folds back round to Martin, similar position to I had with jacks earlier. There would be no real sense in four betting here, so we'd expect him to just make the call and go to a flop. And there we go, he does. Now let's remember that Sean in the cut-off folded the ace queen of clubs. And we get ace king jack, 2 clubs. So set over set, and Sean folds top pair with the royal flush draw. That could have been really tasty. So anyway, let's not get too greedy. Obviously with Martin here, I'd assume he checks. It seems like a fairly sensible option. It's quite a scary board. Bottom set jacks. Obviously I could have all the aces and kings, ace king, lots of suit ace, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to lead here because he can only have jacks. So he checks across. I go pretty big because obviously he can hit this board pretty hard as a free bet caller. So we bet 3k into 4.2, and Martin makes the call. Turn brings a fairly irrelevant 7 of hearts. Actions back on Martin, who checks it pretty quickly across to me. Obviously we've both got about 23k, well, effective stats are 23k, so it's now just trying to work out how can we get all of this in on the river, assuming that we don't get anything too scary. And we decide to opt for a 7k bet, so still pretty big. Obviously I must have been feeling that Martin was pretty strong here. To call on the flop, there's not much he's going to give up on the turn, so he's not going to have aces. He can obviously have a lot of 2 pairs. He can have jacks, he can have flush draws. He could, unlikely to have queen 10, could have queen 10 suited, but who knows. So I think I'm pretty confident we have the best hand, and obviously Martin decides to jam, and we make the snap call because I don't think he's got aces. If he's got queen 10, GG. Ace queen of clubs would have been in the blender here. Like, I think three ways, you just kind of just have to get it in. I think it would have been a huge pot. And let's see if Sean made the wrong decision at the right time, or the right decision at the wrong time, whichever one we want to say. There we go, we knocked Martin out. Win a massive pot. We're now up to 55k, so more than double starting. And we are sailing, so finally we've got a decent stack.
Break number 2. So back in the car. Normally, one of my favourite things about sort of travelling around a little bit for poker content is you get to go to nice restaurants, have some nice food. But because we're playing in fucking Coventry, and I think the highest level of gourmet here is probably Nando's, and I refuse to pay that much for chicken. I'm sat here eating a bloody wrap in my car because, again, you can't take food and drink inside a British casino, just in case I'm smuggling fucking anthrax in my wrap that'll... Oh, well, that was an eventful day. Pretty card dead for the last 6 or 7 levels, but did enough to keep chipping away. And make day 2. Managed to bust the bubble boy in great fashion. Lovely bloke that I played a full day. Felt a bit bad to bust him. Not that bad because we're in the money, so... but yeah, managed to get 10s in versus ace-7 suited, and we held. So, yeah, happy days. Sorry, I'm knackered, so... Thankfully, booked in a hotel. So, yeah, we'll get to bed, chill out. See you at breakfast in the morning, I reckon, so... Yeah. just talking nonsense now, aren't I? So yeah, 180k tomorrow, 3k big blind, probably 50k up top. So let's hope we can take it down.